Mike?
All right, let her rip. I have no idea what to say or what we're doing, so.
Well, we're just going to have a little chat about whatever comes to mind and let people know what you're up to, what you're thinking. And, you've had a rough few years. And
That'll be 4 in February.
4 years, eh?
Yeah.
So, we'll start off with what happened that put you into a wheelchair kind of life.
Yeah.
Right? And how's it gone?
I was going to say we were having sex on the roof, but it was winter.
With a reindeer.
I've been looking for I've been looking for a better story, but
Yeah. Well, basically you came home and
it is
you
what
had
it
a
is.
fall,
Yeah.
right? And you ended up. What exactly? What kind of damage was done to your?
So C-3.
Yeah.
So anyway, the story was we went out for Valentine's Day, 2019, to celebrate Les's birthday and Valentine's Day and just dinner with friends, right?
Right.
And then after that was done, actually I only had a couple of drinks that night too, so I can't even blame that. So anyways, I was smoking still at the time, and Les went upstairs to change, and I stayed outside and had my cigarette. And then when I came back in the little vestibule we have where we drop our shoes, hang our clothes, that kind of stuff. So normally I would throw my foot and shoe up on top of it, to flip my shoes up there.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, of course, the inside of the heel got caught on the post.
Mm.
So I was trying to catch my balance, and we have these folding doors. So I was assuming that the doors was actually closed, but it wasn't.
Right.
And then there's a small 6-inch wall between the two closets.
Right.
So when I fell, I got my foot stuck on the one side, my hand going through the door. So there's just my head now to hit that little wall.
Yeah.
And I actually remember hitting it, right?
Wow.
And then not much after that. Anyways, then I was actually out, according to the paramedics, I was actually dead upon arrival.
Mm.
They resuscitated me somehow. Anyways, we get to the hospital and the evaluation is C-3. There's different parts of your spine. The top being like right up into your head pretty well. C-3 is pretty critical as well. So the diagnosis was I would never move a finger, ever. So eventually the hospital here in North Bay sent me down to Lyndhurst, which is a spinal hospital in Toronto. And they were the ones continuing diagnosis and that kind of stuff and treating me, right? So you get to stay there for about 3 months, and they do rehab and some physio, even though you can't move. They get people still to be able to move their arms and
Trying to fight the atrophy.
trying to help circulation and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
Circulation.
yeah, of course, in my mind, I'm going, screw this. I'm not going to stay like this. So I keep a lot of the stuff that happened to me was more me motivating myself. Like I would look at my fingers and kind of will them to move.
Right.
Then eventually one day they did.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's from me willing it to move or whatever, concentrating on getting the fingers to go first. So I have no idea. And then it was the arms, and so eventually I was able to, again, physio is a lot of it, right? Because they're moving them as well. It never got rid of the pain. The pain was still always there and still is. But what happened when I fell is I didn't break anything. There was a minor line. They couldn't decide whether it was broken or not. It wasn't significant or not. But there was still a fissure as opposed to a fracture.
Right.
But what happened is my feet were up against the other wall. Being 6'3", I was longer than the room. So as I'm falling down, it's kind of stuck between the two of them. My head and feet are crushing my spine this way.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I got all the damage. So the whole idea is 1 second out of your life, this could happen. You're kind of in a chair, or worse, in a bed for life, right? So
Could be worse.
yeah, it could be worse. Yeah. So one thing I did notice, fortunately I had a pretty good attitude before the fall, and I kind of kept it through. Well, I realized if I didn't, I'm going to be screwed like a lot of the people in the room were.
Mm-hmm.
So there were, everybody in the hospital had a spinal of something. A lot of them were car accidents, people falling off the roof, breaking their neck. Anyways, the car accidents were worse. These people had metal put in their back and their spines, like from neck to spine to waist, basically.
Yeah.
And you could hear them screaming all night long, right, from the pain. I mean, there's only so much pain stuff you can give, right, I imagine with that kind of, so I was, you always consider yourself fortunate when you see somebody worse, right? So, and there were a lot worse than me, even though I couldn't move at the time.
But you had a pretty good attitude about life before then, right?
Yeah, before that, yeah.
Yeah, and that's...
Yeah, I've always been joking around about it.
Yeah. Well, if
Yeah.
you can't find humor and stuff, even...
Well, no,
the dark-
exactly.
And that's when you need humor the most,
Yeah, exactly.
when it's the
Yeah.
darkest.
When I was younger, I sold motivational tapes with Nightingale Conant, right? So,
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, back in the 70s, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was kind of good. That was kind of long before they came out with that stuff, and now it's a big deal. Like Accessories now has their product and more. Even this motivational pictures. Like I have about 100 of them in the
Yeah.
crawl space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so I was always kind of into keeping your spirits high, even when you're having a hard time, because that's what gets you through it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
They hang in there, baby
Yeah.
cat poster.
yeah, so when you're at Lyndhurst too, it's not just physical they take care of. They try the mental, and they have this girl coming in about other
Emotional-
therapies other than drugs to help the pain go away.
Emotional support.
Right. And I said, you're talking to the wrong guy, because I know it's not going to go away.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But it's how you deal with it, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, so I still have the pain from fingertip to fingertip, like a horse collar.
Right?
Like that's 24 hours a day,
Wow.
right? Never goes away.
What kind
Right.
of level of pain? 1 to 10.
10.
Wow.
Like I still
permanent
have
pain.
some medication, but they've been weaning me off. I had morphine, like derivative of morphine. And then hydromorphine, which is even less painkiller, but still. But it never really, they say it helps the pain, but probably the only thing that helps the pain is direct morphine, what they give people just before they're going away.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know, maybe they gave me in the hospital, I have no idea. But
Well, I have some familiarity with those drugs because I had my hip replaced twice, and the first time was I ended up waking up, and instead of going to be out in 3-4 days, I was at least 2 weeks of traction.
Right.
Right, and back in '85 when they were
Okay.
still experimenting what Percocets were all
Yeah,
about.
right. Yeah,
Crazy stuff. I preferred the morphine, of course.
Right.
And then I had my hip done again in '07, and they had to cut the femur in half, and it never grew back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have some.
Yeah, no, I hear ya.
it doesn't do the pain,
Yeah. No, I know.
but it does other things,
No, I know.
and you just got to be careful
Yeah.
on how much of that shit.
Anytime you
take.
get near that spinal cord in the back, it's
Yeah,
not
that's
fun.
a different thing.
It's
right?
not fun.
Yeah,
right?
that's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
It's, I have some nerve pain because of shrunken
Right.
nerves and atrophy.
Right. See, I had neuropathy before this
Oh, did you?
in my feet and hands.
Oh,
Right. So they sent me down to a nerve specialist down in Huntsville.
oh,
Yeah. He basically says nothing I can do for you.
yeah. Well,
Oh.
nerve pain is the worst.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
But anyways, yeah, I don't feel that anymore.
No, you got
Yeah.
different things to worry about.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
well,
So pain is relative, I found.
yeah,
right?
it is relative, man.
Yeah, go ahead, hit me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, let me feel something different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyways, that was kind of the story, and then I remember the girl coming in. They actually have a person there from Motion Specialties that lives in that hospital, because everybody there gets a wheelchair or some kind of mobility thing that
Right.
they need, right? So,
Yeah.
so it's automatic. So she's sizing me up while I'm in the stretcher, and I'm not able to move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they grab me, they throw me into a wheelchair, and they go, "So what do you think?" I said, "I don't know. I can't really feel, and I'm not sure what it's supposed to feel like. All I know is painful in the back already, and I haven't even been in there very long."
Yeah.
But anyways, fortunately, I kept nodding yes for everything she said. So I got the height of the wheelchair to go up so I could sit at the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's more for grocery shopping back then. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
bar height. And then they've got the swivel and it goes back. So it's got some of the features. I don't know what it would have done if I had the one that doesn't move.
Well, yeah.
Like you'd be kind of stuck like this the whole time, right? So it's like people that are in the manual ones, right?
No, there's the perspective.
Now, they tip back too? I don't know.
It's always got perspective, eh? Like, some people don't have the means. Like, did you have some type of benefit program that helped? More than
So the government, I don't know if it's provincial or federal, they pay 75%,
right.
right? It's an ADP plan or whatever. Now they offer that to everybody, but you got to apply for it, and they'll give you the 75% if it's a long-term thing.
Right.
Like if I was only going to be in that for 3 months, I'd have to pay the 25 grand
Yeah.
for the wheelchair. So they paid that, and fortunately Les had a work plan that covered the rest.
Right. Okay.
So we were out of pocket $90 for the extra cover for the seat. I started laughing when they said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really $90 for the chair.
Yeah.
But they do that for everybody, and now it's been almost 4 years. So the occupational therapist was just over a couple of weeks ago, and because the back of my chair where I was sitting on it had no padding left, it was just metal that I was sitting back
right
on.
Through.
Yeah, it wore right through. Yeah, and then the seating pad was kind of the same, although I still have it over there. So yesterday they came over and they gave me a trial on the ones that are there. So the bottom one has no air in it, so there's no valve, there's no changing of whatever. It's foam, I guess, or whatever. I'm not sure. So it's all now. I got to get used to a different feel, right?
Yeah.
And it feels horrible compared to where I had worn it in. And the back is too skinny and it's not tall enough. The tall enough we were going to get. So anyways, I'll probably try and find something different.
Right.
But at least they're working on it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, and that again is ADP stuff, so it's 75%.
Right.
Because every little thing you add onto this thing is expensive.
No doubt.
So because I have swelling in the legs still, and in the arms now, they gave me this foot thing that'll actually raise up, right? So I can use my throttle there. And it actually went $2,600 for that little piece. So if you're thinking of a career, wheelchairs are probably a good thing to get into.
Making them and selling them.
Yeah, making them and selling them. I was joking with the physio guys saying, the O&R, I should have gone to the O&R and got them to build me a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And would have had a roof on it at least.
Yeah, for sure. Take
Anyways,
one of the old
and
train chairs.
Yeah, the locomotive horn would be nice too.
Well, those old conductor chairs in the locomotives.
Yeah, I would imagine, eh? Yeah.
Those are the like state of the art.
Yeah.
When you get a new one.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's fortunately I wake up every morning. I mean, I got the hospital bed that's in the room, and got the ramp to be able to go in and out. And my wife built a deck for me so I could actually get on with the wheelchair. Put a plug in for carpentry.
Were you still working when that happened?
No, I was kind of
semi-retired.
Yeah, sort of. I was still drumming, right?
Yeah.
Occasionally when I would go down to Toronto. And then I was doing I did some contracts internationally, right, when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And I've kept that kind of on the side all the way through. So,
what kind of contracts?
So if a company wanted to expand their product line out of the U.S., I didn't deal with any Canadian companies, but they wanted to go, and I would tell them the best country to start with,
right,
based on what they were selling. And it's just based on experience. I mean, I've done it for so long.
Overseas marketing consultant?
Yeah. So international, yeah.
International.
Yeah. So anyways, back in the old days, I would actually go there and set everybody up, find a sales agency to help them and find staff and get a lawyer to do it all right. And So these are companies that have lots of money, right?
Yeah.
Or have raised a lot of money to go do things. Now it's a lot different than it was back before. I don't want to unplug the government, but the government wasn't doing a very good job back when I first started. So there were more people like me trying to help companies along.
Right.
The government's got a lot better in their international trade. Now, whether it's more successful or not is debatable, but I'm sure they'll tell you it is. But
Well, didn't Jay Aspen work on export import?
yeah, Jay was doing stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
I think
why him and
Fidelli
I.
went on a few junkets overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the government, right? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
even with the air.
Well, before he was with somebody before that too.
Well, with the airport.
Oh, the airport thing with Vic.
Yeah.
Was Vic there then?
Yeah. He was with
Yeah.
that, trying to find
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
customers for the airport properties.
Yeah. Seems like they got some, anyways, right?
Well, it seems like it.
Yeah. I don't want to be negative all the time.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
there's been incremental improvements
Yeah.
with the assets that the city playing with the cards that were dealt them,
Yeah.
right? You know, that was
Yeah.
a big thing about the military leaving or downsizing,
Yeah.
and then having to be, basically saved by Bob Wood and those guys
Yeah.
to stay here with that
Yeah.
NORAD installation. So no, there's been challenges and good things for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. No, there's.
I mean, North Bay's a hard sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, the air base is a big bonus for us, or was, or has been.
Yeah, as long as we have that
Yeah.
10,000-foot airway.
Yeah, exactly.
Airstrip.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and then there's some big employers there right now.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
awesome.
somebody was telling me, or I think I knew this, that North Bay had 7 head offices here,
Could
like
be.
cementation, Redpath.
Oh yeah, a lot of mining service companies,
Right.
mining engineering.
Mostly
companies.
those, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we have a quiet in the back, strong mining and other
mining
types
services
of
companies.
things that
Yeah.
you don't see in the public very
No,
often.
that's right. Yeah. But I mean, I was on the CIM
Yeah.
for a while when I was working at the university, and it was really neat listening to them all talk about, going to Mongolia. We're starting to go over there now, and
I think they just had mining week and the CIM
Yeah.
meeting at the
yeah,
meeting club.
I was getting the email. I
Roy
should have
Slack.
got the Parabus and gone over.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing, is planning your life around the Parabus. Fortunately, we have one,
Yeah,
so you can actually get around, right?
yeah.
And they've also, apparently the city buses I can get on. I just haven't tried it yet. I'll have to do that someday. So you can just go whenever you felt like it, right?
Right.
Get on the city bus.
Where's the
But-
closest bus stop?
Just over there where the store is.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it's not far.
Yeah.
It'd be difficult in the winter probably, but
Yeah,
like I've got stuck in the driveway after Parabus dropped me off.
no kidding. Eh?
No, I got help from a neighbor,
Yeah.
right, to help push me up, right? Yeah, always gotta watch what you say, Dave. When,
Oh, yeah.
When
But,
you're on,
the
not that
Parabus-
I've ever been on camera before, but
That's
I
funny.
avoided it.
Oh, your work history and your North Bay history. How long have you been here? And
Well, I got here in 78, 70, in the 70s anyways.
yeah,
And then I've been here, and then we've left and gone to different places. Lived out in the island, Vancouver Island, for 6 years. Went up to the Arctic for Whitehorse and Yellowknife
How
for
long
a
were you
stint.
yeah.
Almost 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
What's
it was
like
great.
there?
Loved it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Her mother was not feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
She had Alzheimer's.
Right.
So we moved back from Yellowknife to Sudbury. That's where my wife is from.
Right.
To help her. So we stayed there with our newborn child. And when we got there, Les had the other one. So, yeah, the 2 girls. So, and then when I was working in North Bay, I worked at managed the Northern Development Mines for 3 years. I gotta remember the years now. And then I had a 3-year, it's a 3-year thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I had a 3-year stint with the university with doing the tech transfer there.
Yeah, 3 years is. I've always gone to places and expected to be gone within 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of hoping for 2, but I ended up staying for 3.
Well, I went to the Nugget thinking 3 to 5, and it turned out into 18.
Yeah, I know.
But,
yeah.
You know.
Hey, if it works out for you,
Oh.
I could just never see myself behind a desk forever.
Yeah, in any one spot, it's hard. But
Yeah.
you usually do that when you got children,
Right.
right? You need that stability.
Well, yeah. Well, that's probably the reason as well, right? Compared to the income you can make on your own.
Yeah.
Especially when the kids are young, right?
Yeah, you need that little bit of stability, although it's...
and then I did,
hard.
sales quite often, selling, mining stuff.
Right.
So I got to travel by car up into all these nice little places in northern Ontario.
No doubt.
Yeah, beautiful, yeah. Anyways.
Now, you mentioned drumming.
I've been drumming since I was 6 years old.
Yeah?
Nobody in North Bay knew or knows.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because I never play where I live.
Is that by design?
Yeah, by design. Yeah. So, anyways, I've...
Any bands anybody would have heard of?
That I drummed for it?
Oh, any places you played at? Or concerts? Or bars?
Well, I played... So, here's the thing. You sign a contract as just a drop-in. So, I would fill in for somebody who was sick.
Yeah, drummers are like goalies that way, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'd fly kind of all over the world wherever they needed one.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so I played for some fairly big bands over the years. Can't tell you who they are, though.
No?
No.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Break the allegiance of the guy's name who was there on the record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did a lot of studio stuff.
What kind of places have you been playing?
You mean, so I played a lot of places in Europe, and
Oh, yeah.
back in 1969 we played in Johannesburg, New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So it was our 50th anniversary the year I had this happen. So we were going to go down and play our 50th anniversary that New Year's Eve, but then
Oh, no kidding.
I ended up in the wheelchair. So
Oh, man.
So that threw that off. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would be
going back. Yeah.
Huh.
So I've done some weird stuff. Yeah, but drumming's
I had
always
no
been...
doubts.
No, I know. Well, thanks, Dave. And here I am trying to be respectful.
Well, we may as well just shed that right away. Yeah.
So the drumming thing, I mean, there's no point telling anybody. I mean, what's the point? Like, North Bay's just been kind of who you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all you needed to be.
Who are some of your friends here? I know
Well,
some of the Nuggeteers.
Yeah. Ike used to be Lefty before he passed away. So yeah, I've got a few of them. Danny Baudry. So every year I have a barbecue. So we had a couple years off because I had to convince my wife to cook instead of me.
Yeah.
So the last couple of years we've had it again. We used to have a pickerel fry.
Mm.
Now we're into burgers and just beer.
Easier.
Burgers and beer.
Burgers and beer. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get about, 30, 40 over sometimes for these things. And it's just a bonding kind of thing. So the Finners, Mike Finner's part of the group. Yeah, mainly ex-ball players, right? Nugget. I'm just trying to think of some of them that are out of... Not really.
Mike Humphrey used to be part of the
Yeah, Mike Humphrey, yeah. So he's still friends. Actually, his sister's coming over to stay tonight.
Oh, no kidding.
She comes over at least once a month or whenever she's allowed in. So she comes up from Toronto to be with Mike. And
how's he doing?
he's getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't speak very much anymore. Like I went with him to the curling thing, so we got both of us now in the wheelchair. A lot better seats than we had before, because we're right up against the board, right?
Yeah.
Not that it's much more fun up there, but
This latest curling were you at?
yeah, the last one,
no kidding.
So he went to the men's one day, and then we went to the noon draw the next day.
Okay.
And it's the women's. I said, I don't want to go see the guys play. So, yeah, so the one that was closest to us was Korea and Canada. There were 4 Canada teams out that day. So, yeah.
I was only there for one set. It was women.
Yeah.
It was on the Friday afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Were you there? No?
Yeah, it was Wednesday, I think we went.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a really good competition.
Yeah. 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 Well, the bigger one, I guess, was the one they had here before, right?
Yeah, the Worlds.
The Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
now that was good.
This is the second Pinty's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah. That was good. I mean, there wasn't that many people in the stands when we were watching, but
yeah,
it was a
one
noon
wasn't
hour
packed
thing.
like it was
Yeah.
the World thing, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah. So I don't know.
Of course, there's still a little bit of the COVID
yeah.
thing for
Yeah,
some people.
No, I get it. But anyways, I mean, Mike was always a big curler, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, huge.
Yeah, curling for himself, and once in a while he'd pick us up in those beer curling things, where you could win a balloon or whatever, or a coffee mug.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, it's too bad about Mike. I mean, him and I were good friends with Ike and the ball players, and because he lived not far from me, the landlady, she would Billy Johnson's wife.
Right.
She would call me if Mike was having trouble, right? So one day I got a call from her, and he's out in the parking lot, kind of delusional, right, walking around. And that's when we got all this kind of started, right? So he got put in there, and I brought it. He was on medication, right, like lots of pills, but he wasn't taking any. So there's a garbage bag, literally half filled with them, that I brought to the hospital with me, like literally. So I presume that had something to do with this condition. Now, of course, I take him up to the hospital, and of course, I'm not related or anything, but I'm just trying to help him out. They let me in like I was family and whatever. And fortunately for him, Doc Rive saw him, and he took the case, right, instead of the guy that was behind, just because he knew Mike, right? So, and then they found out. I'm pretty sure they knew he had Parkinson's before that, because that's where all the pills would come in from.
Yeah.
But he had reached a stage worse than he should have been, where he was on his own. Yeah, so anyways, then he got put in the Farrer building over off Gormanville there.
Yeah.
Whatever street that is.
Tackleberry.
It is Gormanville, Tackleberry,
Yeah.
yeah. So he got in there and he got all cleaned up, and he started losing some weight and eating healthy again instead of those midnight burgers. And he was doing pretty good there for a while. Now they got to the point where they couldn't take care of him anymore. So then he had to go, he was over at, what's the one over on the lake?
Used to be
out in
Leisure
West
World?
Ferris. West Ferris.
You used to be Leisure World?
Yeah, Leisure World, yeah, whatever it's called now. Yeah, I was trying to think of the new one, but I knew the old one, yeah.
It doesn't stick with me for some reason.
Yeah, Leisure World. But it's called White something now, or White.
Yeah.
White.
The-
Okay, anybody
White
listening to
Pines?
this,
Is it White Pines?
anybody listening to this can tell us.
I'll try to correct it. Yeah.
Yeah, anyways. But yeah, it's too bad. And then with COVID and that, I couldn't go over and see him anymore.
Yeah.
Of course, then this happened. But so Judy fills me in. That's his sister. But she was staying at Pinewood all the time, and I'm going to her, what are you paying for? I mean, they gave her a deal and everything, but I said, we got a full apartment-sized stuff downstairs,
Oh, cool.
come on over, right? So, yeah.
If you think of it, I got a lot of great photos of Mike.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a folder of them.
Yeah?
I'd like to put something in the magazine, but it's not like I can interview him right now. And
Have you got them hard or just?
they're digital.
Okay.
I can provide them with her, and I'd like to put a little piece in the magazine just to let people know he's still alive. Anyways.
Yeah. She's usually here around 6, 7.
Okay.
After the dinner they have over there.
Tell you what, I'll make sure I'll get your email,
Right.
and I'll send them to you,
Oh, okay.
and you can show her.
Yeah, good idea.
And I was thinking of, it's hard because I would prefer to have features of people while they're still alive. But
Well,
it
I mean,
seems like the
you can
occasion
go
is
in
when
and
they
see him.
pass.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
he probably okay. I mean, all he watches is sports every day.
Oh, okay.
right? He's got the channel kind of fixed at TSN and all that stuff.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, that's his life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can hear words come out once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Like he's still okay there, right? I'm not sure we were all ever okay, but
Well,
anyways, he's still lucid.
Whatever was there,
He's
still got
lucid,
it.
yeah. Because Mike was the guy you always turned to if there was some trivia stuff. Him and Pete Hanley, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. This is before Google, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but inside he's still in good spirits. Like all of us, you just want to break out of this and start over, but it's just not going to happen.
No, everybody's realities are different, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now I still have hope that I'm going to get up and walk around.
Well,
like I'm on the walker now.
A little bit, right?
I go a little bit. Like I go around the house a few times.
Yeah.
And when Les is not here, I'll go up the stairs a bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Just
because if I'm going to hurt myself, I'd rather do it with nobody around. You know that show? I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Yeah. Better carry around that buzzer.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
when I was in the hospital, I was doing physio at the hospital and at Markel Mitchell. And when I was at the you can only do that for about 6 months, and the hospital boots you out. They got more people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, they were good. They had occupational therapy as well there, which is more what I'm concentrating on now. Is like my hands are all kind of buggered up with the pain and stuff, and they're kind of getting the muscles are starting to tighten up, and they've grabbed the little fingers a bit, as you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't want the other ones to go like that.
Right.
Like I was literally watching it bend like every day, seeing it go a little bit more, but I couldn't do. So when I could, I would try to straighten it out like that.
Okay.
By the way, it's like stopping the waves coming in.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's still,
it
hasn't got that bad yet, but except when I put on gloves, it's a little bit harder.
When you were talking about, I think it's called remapping the neural pathways.
Right.
And I know a buddy of mine, Dave Whitehead.
Oh, okay.
And he had a stroke where he was paralyzed on one side. They said he'd never compete in bodybuilding.
Right.
Like that was his sport.
Yeah.
That is his sport.
Is that Brian's brother? Brian Whitehead?
I'm not sure.
It could be a different family. Yeah.
I think there were I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He was back to competing in 6 months.
Oh yeah.
He had already the really good understanding of anatomy, body, muscles, nerves.
Yeah.
And he retrained himself to walk and use his arms and legs.
Right.
And then a couple years after that, after he proved the doctors wrong,
right.
and they were like, it's a real impressive case study, really.
Yeah.
Because the extent that he had to do, where they had no hope they would do anything.
Yeah.
Then he ended up cutting, I'm not sure, here or here with a glass that broke in his hand.
Oh, I see. And that released the muscles or tendons.
Well, then he had to redo it again because he had cut all the nerves.
Oh, I see. They went back.
And he remapped the neural pathways in his hand again.
Yeah. I can see that.
Well, you did it.
Because I've done it with other parts. So I'm trying to work more on my, since I don't have occupational therapy every day.
Yeah.
Now, the Lynn sends one in. They've been in a couple times, gave me some new things to try.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that for the last couple of weeks, right? Just more things that you don't think of. Like, now I can do the Star Trek thing almost all the time now.
Yeah.
But it's more doing these things, going the opposite way.
Right.
I used to be my handwriting used to be really good. So I used to pride myself on it. Now it's like horrible.
Mine.
Or like the bankers, right? Yeah. So getting better control of your hands, right? It'd be fine to me. Moving things, and even cutting the steak.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially with the fork side. It's hard to get that pressure right now for me,
right?
Or the angle, or whatever the hell it is. And I don't want to buy those bent spoons and bent knives, and I want to actually get back to doing it, or just pick it up and chew it, like the caveman. Anyways, my wife doesn't let me do that kind of thing, right? I do it in there though. I usually have breakfast and lunch in the room there.
Yeah.
And then supper, of course, I come out here. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, being able to walk around, and so that helps too. I'm trying to get my spine straight again.
Yeah.
Like I always had a back problem.
Oh yeah.
Lower back problem. And
big 6 foot.
6'3" if I could ever get sit up. So they measure me actually at physio now. So they also time me for steps.
Right.
How fast I can go. I mean, I'm going. I can imagine that I'm running with my walker not even touching the floor. The way I feel like I'm going, right?
Just flying down that path.
Yeah, 33. What was it? 33 feet in 50 some seconds, which is faster than they thought that I'd ever go. So it's like a second a foot, or a second and a half a foot, right? Anyway, they're happy with it. Of course, the only problem with physio is if you do something, the next time you have to do better.
Yeah.
You don't go the other way anymore.
Yeah, you're not allowed. And if you don't,
it's always that one more,
it's
right?
your fault.
Yeah. Okay, do 10. Oh, and one more. Right?
Yeah.
It's always that way, right? Yeah.
And
anyway.
I wish I would have had physio after my operations.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have it as long. So I've had physio for 3.5 years I've been back. Only because of her plan covers it.
Yeah.
Without that, I wouldn't be doing it either. I'd join the Y, I guess, to get some things.
Yeah. No, it's tough when you're either not covered or
Yeah, which most people aren't.
Well, when in '85, because I was on welfare, I didn't get any. They gave me a
ODSP thing or whatever.
No, I was just on basic welfare.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because my short term ran out as I was waiting for the operation.
Right.
So I went from short term unemployment and benefits where I was working as a loading trucks.
Right.
To
welfare.
welfare.
We all got to do something.
To welfare, and then it didn't cover the physio. They gave me a tape, like a strap, and so here.
Right, where you could do it
on your own. And unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to do it on my own.
Right.
And then the second time in '07, I couldn't get physio because of the bone that wouldn't heal, because nobody would want me to put any pressures on it that you needed for to fight atrophy.
I don't know if Mark L. Mitchell's around, but they seem to concentrate on people that have injuries like me. So they kind of specialize in it.
Yeah.
And of course now they've added the other building and expanded what they have. They've hired 6 more physio people. And
yeah, a friend of mine was going there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, I've been there so long now, it's just like, Groundhog Day again.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways.
So
but there is hope
at
the end of the day.
You keep up spirits. And you've done that for a long time. And what are some of the things that remind you to not feel sorry for yourself and to pick up your spirits?
You mean other than just through my head?
Yeah. Well, what do you tell yourself? What do you tell yourself when you?
Well, the funny part is I don't really have to tell myself anything. It's just kind of automatic for me.
Right.
Like, I will consciously think about things at times where I go, like I was saying, I wish you could move, and I kind of concentrate on, or even this, I wish you could move differently, right?
Yeah.
With a little bit more speed. So I work on things like that slowly now. Now that I've proven to myself I could change things if I'm lucky enough at the end, right? Yeah, but at least it gives me something to strive for, right?
Right.
Yeah. So my other goal is to kind of, I've had kind of a bad bout with the walker the last month and a half. My legs are kind of, in my mind, they're retracting. So I'm not as stable as I was.
Right.
I was getting to the point where I could actually let go of the walker and stand up. No, not actually move, but stand still.
Yeah.
Right?
Balanced.
Yeah, which was good, right? So I was getting that balance back. But now, I always try to think of analogies, right? So my legs are still frozen, so I don't have feeling in most of my leg. If you touch my skin, though, I can tell you're there. I've always had that, even at the beginning. But underneath that, like, for example, I've had bed sores on my feet and ankles pretty well since this all happened, even at the hospital. And they check you like every hour. But there was only a minor one there, right? Because they freak out. They call the chief of everything to come in then. But when I got home, they just started. My ankle is the worst. So it took about a year and a half to heal the toes. The ankle was right into the bone, like there's a big hole. So it lasted, closer to 2 years, where it actually finally. So you think about it growing a little bit each time.
Yeah.
And then the skin kind of finally sealing it off. And then, of course, the last 6 months I've got it on my rear end. I was always fearing about the rear end, right? Now it's almost healed. There's just like bruises left, right? So now I don't have any more bandages on it. But this morning it opened up a little again. So I'm just trying to hope it doesn't spread. And now that they've tried new seats for me, I don't want to go back to where I was. And we're still fighting with new mattresses too. Can't find one that's comfortable.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm at the one that's about 10 grand now that they've been testing it. It's not much better than, it's better than what I had, but it's not, in my mind,
It's not there.
the value is not relative to the price.
Right.
Yeah, anyway. Being a cheap guy, I never thought I was cheap before, but now I become cheap.
Yeah, well, you expect more for your dollar.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyways, we'll find something that'll work. Yeah.
I actually have bed sore scars on my behind there myself.
Yeah.
When I was young, I had a bunch of operations, and I was in a body cast.
Yeah.
And
horrible.
yeah.
And I never thought about shit like that either, just from your sheets.
Yeah.
So now my wife has built this cardboard contraption that keeps the blankets and everything away from my feet.
Right.
Right. So yeah, so I'm
You don't have
like in a zombie bed now.
Right. Yeah. Just, that's interesting.
And then she's built pillows underneath, right? So I won't get them on the heel.
Right.
Won't get them on the toes.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to pain. That's where we were going with this.
Yeah.
One night I woke up and both my big toes were black.
Aye.
Like, literally.
Black.
So it wasn't the sores anymore. They were black. So anyways, I had the VON comes in, used to come in 3 times a week. So actually there was a guy that came in this one time, I don't even know his name. He says, you got a scalpel? He says, can you feel that? I said, I don't think so. Give it a try. So he used the scalpel and cut all the skin and everything underneath it off, the big toe, like at the bottom of it, right? Out of both of them, couldn't feel anything except when he got around the nail a little bit. I could feel some, but anyway, so I said, I guess I can't feel that, can I? So even though I could feel the skin when you touch it, I couldn't feel that.
Oh, okay.
And I should be able to feel that, with a scalpel, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, that's been bandaged up. I don't know how long it's been. Close to 6 months it took to heal them back.
Right. Fighting for pieces.
So now I'm just fighting with the rear end now. Yeah.
Fighting for pieces this day.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. But I'm lying with someone that go to bed. Like if they put me in, like the latest I can get somebody to come and put me to bed is 9 o'clock. And they don't even like coming at 9 o'clock. I'm lucky that I've got somebody that does.
Yeah.
So anyways, but I'm lying in bed till 7 in the morning when they pick me up.
Yeah.
So that's a long time, and I can only lie on my back. I can't move when I'm in bed.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating in itself, right? I can kind of push myself a little bit from my back, but I can't roll over. I can't even get myself out of bed if there was a fire. That kind of stuff, right? So I'm kind of hoping to get to that level, but that's taken 3.5 years of me trying, and we're not quite there yet.
It's a tough road, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so those are some of the inconveniences that come with this. And I used to cook.
And your life changed that quick.
Yeah, it's kind of over. It's like you walk through the outer limits door and
here's your new life.
You're on the other side.
Here's your new life. You're not
yeah,
gonna like
and
it.
the same people are there. Imagine that. Yeah. It's funny, I was watching the outer limits yesterday. pretty corny now.
Yeah. So you're a TV aficionado now, like
Yeah, pretty well.
Never watched so much TV in your
Yeah.
life, I bet.
Well, we used to watch movies together, right?
Yeah.
When the girls were here, and Les and I watched movies, usually, definitely Saturday night. Now that we got the box, we got all these movies to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's a sort of an interview technique there. Just one-word answers for these questions.
Oh God.
CN or Fox?
CNN.
CNN. Yeah, or Fox. Action-packed or a comedy? For a movie?
Action-packed. There is no comedy for me anymore.
Yeah, okay.
I don't find anything funny.
Poker or billiards, if you could play?
Poker.
Yeah. 5-card stud or what kind of poker?
Well, with all those weird ones with different
Yeah.
high cards and stuff.
Simple or?
Simple, just
5-card stud.
Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. What else is a good one? Hockey or baseball?
Oh, see, now that's a tough one. Because I played both. Hockey, of course, baseball's over now, so
You have to say hockey right now.
gotta be hockey. I only watched the Blackhawks, so.
Oh.
And they lost last night, of course.
You must have bumped your head too.
But Ottawa won. But Ottawa won. That's my other, of course, that's where I was born.
You do have severe.
That's where I was born.
Severe brain damage then.
I know, exactly. Well, look how long it took me to get the Hawks to win again.
Yeah.
From 61 to 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can
Now
jump
the Leafs can have the record. So there you go.
Yeah, you can jump onto our bandwagon if you want. Anytime there's room.
No. That would never happen. I started cheering for the Hawks when I was like 8, 1960.
How
And the
come?
49ers.
Which player? always a player.
Glenn Hall, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Because I played Nets myself. But
Right.
But it's funny how your life decides what team you cheer for.
Yeah.
So I played on the Hawks as a kid, right, for a couple of years, and I played with the Giants baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a San Francisco Giants fan same time.
Right.
And the 49ers with Y.A. Tittle as quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah, back the same. So my 3 formations of teams all happened then. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I was born in Toronto, so I couldn't
Right.
do anything about that.
Yeah.
I
you could
kind of
have.
grew up in Caperall Hawk territory, but
Yeah.
you know.
No, I know. Well, you wouldn't be betting a lot on them. I found that out
Although I
pretty
have
quick.
an old 1972 Bobby Hull pamphlet showing how to do a slap shot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah.
I'll drop it off sometime.
Yeah.
It's a nice little keepsake.
Yeah.
Um,
Of course, then we had Kenny Warren from here.
yeah.
Yeah. And North Bay had a connection with Hawks for some reason.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
they came up here and played a couple of games back in the day.
yeah, and
some of the guys
Blanjo's
told me.
Hawks, right?
Yeah, right,
It was
yeah.
always a sort of a connection
Yeah.
somehow. I'm not sure. I'll look
Yeah, I'm
into
not
it.
sure how that was.
I'll look into
I know Lefty and those guys told me about it, but
I hadn't realized Lefty passed away.
yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago. I'm trying to remember the month. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah, he died at the same place where Mike was. They were together. Lefty was in the home. Yeah, I think he went to Farrah first too. I don't remember that. But anyways, he ended up in the same nursing home as Mike is.
Maybe
Leisure
maybe
World
we're talking
and
about two different
Voy-
lefties. Which last name was this lefty?
Kenny Luxton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he was there.
There's another lefty that was a football ref.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
But Kenny
Luxton-
Luxton, he was called Lefty because he wrote left-handed, I guess, true left-handed.
Okay, yeah. He was a little bit before my Nugget time.
Yeah. Surprised he was there like 50 years or something. Or of course, it was different back then, as you know.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of great stories that have to remain nameless from the old Nugget times.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Got to protect the innocent, of course, right?
Well, until everybody dies, and then it's
Yeah.
a free willing thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can blame it on the sister or something now. Anyways, yeah, he passed away. It's a couple of years anyway. See, that's where I don't have anymore, is that perception of time. Where before I could tell you what year, I could tell you the date. or the day. Of course, now I don't care, but whether it was 2 years or 10 years, when you ask about somebody dying, yeah, I go 10 and it was 15 or something, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, well, you got a pretty full plate there. Little
Yeah.
details in life.
Well, now I can just say it's in my lifetime.
Yeah, yeah. Back then,
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, but yeah, Kenny did pass away. So the girls are safe now. It doesn't matter which age they are. We always joke with Kenny, right? Because he was always, especially when we go to the bars or whatever, he was always harassing the young ladies that work there. And he actually thought that they were going to date him, this 80-year-old guy. I said, you could be their great-grandfather, by the way.
Yeah.
And of course, he'd hit me in the back of the head, right?
Well, my dad was very charming with the waitresses as well, and
Yeah.
he always had, they always loved him.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure he was trying to pick him up, but he was just very...
No, I'm not sure that was either. But
very, like, charming, though. Like,
Yeah,
like, that's the kind of guy you
well,
want.
he would take the girls over in the corner and talk to them forever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the hell would they have to listen to you for
Yeah, yeah.
that long? Anyway, whatever he said, they were interested. So
Some people have the gift.
yeah, they have the gift. Yeah, I know.
I'm not that charming
And of
myself.
course, like you and I were always giving Lefty a hard time when he come back to the table, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So when you taking her to dinner? Anyways, he'd actually get mad. He was one of those guys who was very private about what he was doing. I mean, him and I became friends for quite a while, and we could always trust each other, right? That bond you kind of built,
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
just there's a point where you can tease, but you don't step across the line.
Yeah.
And if you do, he'll just pick up his cards and leave, like literally, he'll just go out the back door, right? I think there was a lot of that era. There's a few of my friends that are like that. I think it was all that fastball, and it could be a North Bay condition. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, I could say something.
I don't want to blame it on North Bay, but hey.
Yeah. Well, I think it's every town.
Yeah.
It's every town.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I can blame it on here. I won't blame it on Ottawa because that's where I was from.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's well, everybody has their way and their
Yeah.
reasons, right?
Yep, right on. Other than that, there's really not much to talk about.
Well, there's just
What's in the past is in the past. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, mostly.
I mean, the drumming we talked about a bit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm still surprised that you won't name
Yeah.
the band that you.
So I still have all my drumsticks, right, that I
Oh yeah.
play with. I can't twirl much anymore. They end up all over the floor.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick
pickup
them.
Sticks.
Well, yeah, that's it, exactly. And it's hard to pick them up with a reacher, right? They slide, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just leave them on the floor until the BSW comes in.
So where'd you grow up?
Ottawa, for the most part. I was born in Ottawa.
What part of Ottawa?
Well, we were on the canal when I was first born, like literally. Yeah. And then my whole family, actually, my aunt and uncle were next door, my grandparents. We owned the whole block. Different houses were owned by the family, right? And even going back. So the family had a lot of that. And then they all started, as they grew up in different work, and they all started splintering out. So I've been doing some ancestry since everybody died.
Yeah.
For the last 10 years, both my wife and I. And because I always thought it'd be easy for my mom, but there are Fagans and Egan's, right? It's like Smith in Ireland. But so I thought maybe our grandparents came from Ireland, and same on my dad's side. They're Irish as well. But it turns out that both those sides got to Canada in the early 1700s. Like before the famine, before all that stuff. I mean, I have no idea because they all went to Montreal. That's where my dad was born. And all the family is still around. So there's my only living aunt. She just turned 84. Lives in Laval, and they've always been in that area. So I actually went down to see her on her 80th birthday, which was before this, obviously. Yeah, it was October of 2018, I guess. And then 2019 is when I had the accident. So anyways, when I got there, everybody in the room is a relative, but I've never met them. Except my aunt, like when I was 15.
Right.
So it was kind of freaky getting into the room. Like I brought the girls with us and Les came with us. And yeah, so I'm just kind of sitting back going, I'm not sure who to say hi to. But there was one guy there. He was literally, so my grandmother had 5 kids, which my dad was one of. And so was his dad, right? And then the girls got put into a nunnery, and the boys got put on a work farm, right? Because she couldn't afford to feed them or whatever, which I understand. So a lot of that apparently back then.
Of course.
But in the meantime, she marries this Freeston guy and has 4 more kids with him, but leaves them there. So when they all got older, they became pretty bitter, but they still went back because the Second World War was on, and my dad's older brother was a year older or 2 years older than my dad, so he was old enough to get in. But my dad tried, but they wouldn't let him in because he wanted to get in the Air Force and he had to be 18, right? So he was a little bit bitter. But for him to even apply, he had to have this Freeston guy's signature for both of them. So he said, well, if I'm going to sign, you're changing your name to mine. So that's how we ended up with Freeston. Oh. So I didn't know that until I was like 50. That's the first time my dad told me this. So I've named 5 kids Freeston in the meantime. Anyways.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing. So I've been trying to find...
What's in the name? Yeah.
Yeah, what's in the name, yeah.
Nothing
so
but a
I'm
mystery.
trying to find my real grandfather. It's like he was a Martian, just came down, had the 5 kids, and left the planet. Like, can't find him anywhere.
No kid.
Yeah, so I'm
And
still...
what was his name?
Purdy.
How you
Cyril Gordon Purdy. Like Purdy.
Pretty.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why my dad didn't want it. But anyways, that was my grandfather's name, Cyril Gordon Purdy. Now there are some Purdys down in Newfoundland because
oh yeah, I know.
The boat used to land in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Or Montreal or New York, I guess, was the other place. Yeah. And then when I've done the DNA thing, it shows the ship going to Newfoundland from our ancestry, right?
Oh, okay.
So I don't know whether it's my mother's side or...
Probably
but
got
probably his
Purdy,
side.
P-U-R-D-Y.
Yeah, but yeah, I look now in the phone book down there, and Purdy is common there.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about just picking up the phone, calling somebody.
Why not?
Yeah, I used to do that just for kicks. I call somebody in LA and say hi. And, do I know you? I said, no, not at all. I live in Canada. I just went through the phone book and thought I'd call and say hi.
The original,
and they would freak out.
The original internet chat.
Oh, yeah. I got this little old lady. I couldn't get her off the phone. Anyways, I do that once in a while.
Got any relatives in Shawville? That's where my Irish
well, we used to go up to Shawville, Bristol.
Yeah.
All right. We used to go to Norway, Pine Lodge every summer when we were kids.
Apparently the Dales from Shawville went to Cobden.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, no, I know we had an uncle that, I don't know if he lived there or had a permanent cottage or whatever up there, but yeah. But yeah, my mom's side, I could trace them back to the 1700s on the Fagin side, right? And then on the Egan was the other, my grandmother was Egan, like Egansville. And
yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of,
I had
right?
relatives lived in Eganville.
But I look at, war records and all that stuff, they all came out of the Ottawa area somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was amazed that we went that far back into Canada from Ireland. So I don't know what happened in Ireland back in the early 1700s, or I'm sure it was just to get away, or maybe they were prisoners when they were sent here.
There's all kinds of different stories.
It could be anything,
scenarios.
right? Yeah.
It was a tough time. People were taking long rides on ships just because it's got to be better.
Well, yeah. Well, they heard, I guess 1600s was the fur and the money and all that kind of stuff. So, even if you were a shop owner back then, it'd be good money, right?
Yeah.
But anyways.
That's interesting. So do you use Ancestry.com or the local genealogy?
Ancestry.com, and then, like I said, we both did the spit in the jar, it actually goes to Ireland. Right? And they decide, the whole Ancestry.com is kind of based out of Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's owned by the Mennonites, I think. The Mennonites own everything when it comes to genealogy.
Yeah.
They've been researching the world, right?
They're
I'm not
keeping a
sure
list.
why.
They're
I read a
keeping
story
list.
about them once.
Yeah, they want a list. They have it all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with it in the end.
They can
but-
sell it back to us, is what they're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, that's what's happening, right? Yeah. Yeah. Next thing you know, you'll get this syringe.
Yeah.
Change your genes.
Yeah. Or.
Or not. Yeah. Yeah. You're on the wrong side. Yeah, anyways. But it's been kind of fun, right? Just
Oh yeah, I guess so.
kind of go through it. And then you can get lost in it.
Yeah.
You
It's
start
a
looking
rabbit
at
hole.
you start looking at cousins, and I think when you get to your 8th cousin, that's like your neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you look at Kevin, 6 degrees of separation, Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
which is kind of true, really, when you think about it. Yeah. So cousins, I just look for they have their pictures too, right? On your DNA when it comes back. It gives you your line and where you're from. So Ireland, 78%, and Scotland the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Scottish. Well, it's not far apart, so somebody jumped.
Well, my story about the Dale is that they used to be Scottish, but they were O'Dale.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Dallvigh.
Yeah.
And then because they were for the king, they got kicked down to Ireland.
Right.
And then took off to the other part.
Well, that's the
I have no basis for that story.
Oh, I know. That's the penitentiary. That's really all. Yeah. But yes, it was interesting too because the Vikings had it for a while. Spain had Ireland for a while. That's why the dark hair, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, it's got a pretty good history when you look.
Overrun by Romans for sure.
Yeah, everybody.
After overrun by Vikings.
Yeah.
That's where
Everybody.
I got my blue eyes.
Everybody wanted the
That's where
potatoes,
I
I
got my
guess.
blue eyes. Yeah.
Hey, they all wanted the potatoes.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. But it's kind of fun going through it now,
Yeah.
now that I kind of understand the family better, right?
Any
Yeah.
good stories?
Well,
Anybody
almost.
that played on a band halfway across the world?
No, but the one cousin that I was telling you about, he went to McGill
Okay.
and was a drummer.
Oh.
And the way I found them all, I used to get books out of the library here just to read. And one day I'm traveling through I saw in the Mike Freeston. I'm going like, there's nobody in my family who can write.
Yeah.
I was being kind of facetious at the time. So anyways, I picked it up, and of course in the back, where they talk about the author.
Yeah.
Well, then I knew it was one of our relatives, right?
Oh, no good.
And and they're very well off. They live in the better part of Montreal, and so they're a little bit snooty. Because his father married a English bride from the war, right? Brought her over.
Right. Yeah.
So he had an affinity to England, going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so did the sister, still over living in England. I've never met her, but anyways, David had kind of a similar past to mine, right? It was kind of freaky.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, we had lots to talk about, but our family was never. They were close when I was a little kid. We used to go and see who I thought were my grandparents back then. But for some reason, all of a sudden, my dad said, "Screw them," and we're not seeing them ever again. And we didn't. And the whole family was like that. As I met cousins later, their whole family it's like they were hiding some big secret. Maybe they shot my grandfather, who knows?
Interesting.
So there's a rumor they heard bullets one night, and then their father wasn't around anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting
So
story.
there's
That's an interesting
you can make up
story.
any story you want
Sure.
to make it sound good, right?
Yeah.
So, but they were telling me this. So
The
I'm
night
like,
of the bullets.
well, you would know better than me because I seen my grandparents twice before so they died in Alexandria. They ended up moving, but they were always moving from farm to farm. It was like somebody was chasing them. Now looking back, right, because they were always in a different place. So they probably worked somebody's farm and get free rent or something, whatever.
Okay.
That's my guess anyway. Yeah, but Alexandria was another pinpoint on our family tree because my uncle lived in Alexandria, and he's kind of Scottish, right? So maybe that's where. Never thought about it at the time, but and then speaking of him, Angus MacDonald was his name, and his father's name was Angus MacDonald as well. So he was one of my uncles through my mother's side somehow. But you know those poppies they give out now, where you can scan them and you see a soldier and whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Angus MacDonald came up, my great uncle.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it talks about his daughter, or his wife was a nurse in the war, but she got killed over in Europe, right? So I was reading the story and I'm going, there's another one I didn't know, right? But talk about, I mean, that's freaky, right? To randomly, I should have bought a lottery ticket that night. Yeah.
You should have. You could be able to get another chair.
Yeah, I know. How long's the lottery been going?
Yeah.
40, 50 years maybe?
Yeah.
And I bought a ticket since the beginning. Right? I think the most I've ever won is like $180 or something.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's coming though, Dave.
It's coming.
Yeah, just the day before I say I'm gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, who knows? But yeah, that was kind of freaky. So
You won the lottery with the wife.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, she'll take half and run. That's all right. Well, how would you like to be the guys in the States to win the $1.8 billion? Or it's still going, isn't it?
No, someone won it.
Oh, somebody won it?
I think, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking 70 million would kind of change your life, but
I don't think 700,000.
yeah. Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I used to have it was a running joke at the Nugget newsroom. People would say, "How much would you need to retire?" I said, 500,000. I'm out of here.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That's 10 years of salary now.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long do you think you're going to live?"
Yeah.
I could go get another job after 10 years, but I'm taking a break right now. 500 grand.
Yeah.
So I was always low.
But it would definitely help you along the way.
It's a start over
did
money.
Right.
That's life-changing money
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I guess you need a couple billion, but
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
at the
You had
time,
to keep up with your lifestyle.
500 grand was like getting paid paid for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, look at that guy for the election that spent 100 million.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
I spilled all the water.
that's crazy money. I don't think they should. In my opinion, they should get money out of politics. You know what I mean?
Well, it's become so corporate that it stains everything. Yeah.
In the U.S. So the Republicans and Democrats, I'm sure whoever they buy the advertising from is one of them. Well, definitely. Now, how the money gets shuffled around, I have no idea.
I think that's what they call the trickle-down effect.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, you know what? It's been in our life forever.
Yeah.
Kings did that.
Oh, yeah. It's not unusual.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick up some of the
Yeah,
water.
go ahead.
I don't want
That's why they're there.
wood floor to get... Yeah.
I have them there just in case I make a mess. And I have my bib.
Oh, yeah.
Just, I don't want to dirty my shirt or anything.
Yeah. And changing is, you can't do that every moment.
I become more of a risk at dropping things.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch TV and hold your fork and stuff. Yeah, 2 things at a time.
Well, I enjoyed our chat. I'm going to close her down.
Okay.
Maybe we can do it again. I just thought it'd be great to talk to you. I know you don't get out much. And I know a lot of people know you. And it'd be good to hear you talking. And I'm impressed with your outlook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the option sucks, so the other way. And, I haven't ever let myself get down. Right? So until the Parabus died, I used to go to Casey's on Friday night and whatever. You need a cab van, that would pick us up. Because the Parabus stops around 4:30.
Right.
Or 5 maybe at the latest. But I used to they had a deal with You Need a Cab with their wheelchair van. They would pick us up. They would only charge us the $3, right? Like you were getting on a bus.
Right.
But they would charge the Parabus the full fare, right? So they're obviously being subsidized somewhere along the line. So I want to thank the public for letting me go out.
That's cool.
But I used to get to see some people that way too, right? Because most of the people I know have never seen me in a wheelchair. right?
Yeah.
So, and I haven't really been taking pictures of myself to put on Facebook or whatever. So that's why I've been growing the beard so I can get into. I've never had one before, so I thought this would be kind of cool. And I'm lazy now for doing any of that shaving stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways,
That looks good.
we'll see how.
Yeah, you look like
Now
a
that
big
I got it
Scottish
through the
guy.
winter.
You look like a big Scottish guy.
Of course, and then I got my hair cut last week,
Oh, nice.
and my wife went, "Yeah, which one?" Well, she took a ton off because it was really, really thick in the back, right?
Yeah.
I was hoping to borrow some and just kind of slap it here, but
Yeah. A comb over.
But now that now that I look at it, it doesn't look a lot different than it did. But I like it longer now. I don't know why. I used to have it long when I was a kid, but
Yeah. Well, it feels good when it's long. I wish I could grow mine long, but it just gets frizzy.
well, mine gets all matted and well, you can probably see it now. It just kind of, even now, it kind of sticks out. But I don't care. Nobody really sees me, anyways, except for the physio guys.
So there's no parabus that died?
Well, the van from United Cab was in an accident a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
It
okay.
got totaled, I guess. So they either have to go out and buy a new one or find a used one, or
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah. So everybody like me that wanted to go out for dinner or go to a show or that were relying on that, or even go to the casino and stay for a while,
Right.
can't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I can't go anywhere. So the only place I've gone is to Average Joe's because I can wheel over there.
Right.
Well, when the cold comes, I'm not so sure, but
Yeah.
so anyways, I can get to Average Joe's, and they're really good to me there.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, because I've gone there a lot. We used to have a kind of a circle place we go. One Friday we go to Casey's, then Lot 88. Well, anywhere I can get in with a wheelchair.
Right.
Right, Cecil's and
You
Average
came down
Joe's.
the Moose there one time?
Yeah, and the Moose. Yeah, I can get in the Moose too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, the doors either not wide enough, or they have a step.
Yeah.
Right, and manual wheelchairs, I guess you can get up on a step because you can kind of wheel yourself back, but not with this thing. And between me and the chair, it's like 700 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try not to run over people's feet. It's easier here in North Bay. When I was down in Toronto when I was waiting for the room to be built, they had a beer store and a liquor store close to the apartment we were in, and a grocery store. You're on your own as soon as you leave Lyndhurst. Like, see ya, go do your thing. So I had to go shop, but they were used to it because everybody in that building is on ODSP or have insurance, from a vehicle accident, so they're recovering there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have lived there for like 11 years. The girl with MS, it's like her permanent place, right?
Oh, wow.
So there were a few of those in the building. So they had two, which would have been condos, I'm sure, if it wasn't must be owned by the province, I guess. Well, we were right at Dundas and Ossington. So there's like tons of places around there. But I couldn't get into any of them except one restaurant. So this girl I know in Toronto, we went out to have a couple of drinks and something to eat. The closest place I could find to go was Don Cherry's. I had to wheel all the way to Don Cherry's. From there, we tried everywhere along the way, but it either had a step or no ramp or whatever. I mean, most of those buildings are old. They've been around for a while, so they aren't part of that improvement thing yet. So
Until they make major stuff, they don't have to become accessible.
and North Bay has that problem too, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure people before me have told people, but I actually thought about starting a blog in North Bay, but I think you were telling me there is one, or somebody was telling me
About what?
about people with wheelchairs and where to go. Now I don't know if that's true or not. Like I never really.
It's a good.
But I thought about
it's a good idea.
Going to different restaurants and businesses, and find out if they say they're handicapped, their washrooms
Do
handicapped.
an audit.
But try and get with a wheelchair into the bathroom,
Right.
or move around the tables and stuff. Like the Moose on that one side would be hard for me to stay.
Yeah.
On the other side where we were, I mean, I got in there obviously, and with my wheelchair I could sit at the bar too.
Right.
So, but yeah, we can go down there. But anyways, we just went to the places that I knew I can get in, because I'd send somebody out. I'd send Ike out, but you think about it when you're walking, you don't really. I said, "Does it have a step?" Well, I have no idea. I don't remember. You know, like, and you probably wouldn't because I didn't, and I've been in all these places.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a good idea though.
Yeah.
To have an updated list of
Where you can
audited
go,
accessibility.
Yeah.
Welcoming
especially if
places.
you have a power chair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's whether they want power chairs in there. Maybe not. I mean, their money's just as good as anybody else's.
Well, it's a matter of.
It's not like you really
accessible
have
the
to.
public, and the public includes people
Well,
like
yeah.
yourself.
But yeah, I guess if you had 10 of us in there at the same time, maybe. But we don't take up a lot of space. You know, when you got the chair, like we move the chair out, I just take the spot the chair had.
Yeah.
Now the wheels in the back might take a bit of space, but
There's some restaurants who might not fit. They're a little
yeah,
but
it's just the point of finding out, right?
well, and it's not really to. I wouldn't be an idea to point out the places that weren't accessible.
No,
It's a
I'm just
matter of
talking about the
finding
ones that
places
were.
that are right.
Yeah,
So
right.
you know.
Yeah.
Fu-
So you do get bluff. It's got accessibility, and sure you can get in the door, but you can't get in the washroom, or you can't sit anywhere.
Yeah.
Now I've taken the Parabus there. Now I got to wait 2 or 3 hours for my ride back.
Right.
Now what do I do? Yeah. There's lots of great things on Main Street I could stop in and play with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. Well,
All right, shut her down, Dave.
we're gonna shut her down, man.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks
Good to
for
see
talking.
you.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Hey, I have nothing but time, Dave.
Well, that's the attitude. Right.
Right on.
Right on.